what's up you guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing a top 10 video, kind of, a little bit. I'm still like partially sick. I'm getting over it. It's a process. And working on the lighting, but I think I'm in the process of figuring it out. Hopefully, if this is better. I don't fucking know. Okay, so today we are doing, if I can only keep 10 eyeshadow palettes. I don't know if like the original prompt was for 10 like eyeshadow palettes or just 10 palettes in general. I'm doing eyeshadow palettes because that's just easiest. But if I can only keep 10. So these are not like my top 10 favorite eyeshadow palettes. But I mean like kind of, right? I tend to really like the colorful glittery palettes. So obviously I need more than that if I was only going to keep 10. So I went through my collection. I picked out 10. Like if I could only keep 10 of them, these are the 10 that I would keep. So they're not all like favorites, but it's close enough. It is. So I've seen this going around. I've seen several people do it. I have no idea who originally started this tag, challenge, whatever you want to call it thing. So I don't know who to link below, but if you guys know who originally started it, let me know and I'll link them down below. This was much harder than I had anticipated. Like I saw it and I was like, oh, that would be really fun to do. And it's hard. Like I have a lot of eyeshadow palettes and I'm aware of that, but narrowing down to just 10 is much more difficult than it seems, right? Because I had to make sure like I had a good mix of colors and shades and finishes and all that type of stuff. And that was difficult in and of itself. But then like just only 10, like it seems like such a good number and it's so... Anyways, we're gonna jump into it. I've got 10 palettes next to me that I would keep if I could only keep 10. The first one, obviously, this is no longer available, so it will not be linked down below, but the original Urban Decay Naked. This is such a quintessential classic. Like, I feel like everybody in the world has this palette, and it's just genuinely so good. It's a good basic nude palette. It has so many good shades just for everyday use. It also has some darker shades if you wanted to do like a smoky eye or something. And there's just so many different things that this can be used for. And I love this palette. I do. And I had a really hard time because I've got the Naked 1, 2, and 3. And I had a hard time picking just one of them. And this is the one that I picked because this is the basic. This is the original. This is the OG. It's definitely got a little something for everyone. The other two were like, I think Naked 2 was like a cool tone palette and Naked 3 was like rose gold, which is beautiful but just quintessential neutral shades. This is perfect. It really is. Like it's just such a good palette. So this is the first one that I would keep if I could only keep 10 because this is really, I mean like you can do so much with this. Piggybacking off of that, the second one that I would keep is the Urban Decay and Naked Honey. Now I will admit I have not played with this as much as I would like to play with it, but this is just such... So I was looking at, because I have, I think all of the Naked themed palettes, I'm pretty sure. And I was looking through all of them, and you've got your Naked 2, which is cool tones, which is nice, and you've got your Naked 3, which is rose gold, which the Naked 3 is probably my favorite out of all of the Naked palettes, but that's because I can bring other stuff in, you know? So that in and of itself, it was a tough one. You know, the Naked Heat, the Naked Smoky, Naked Cherry, and then Naked Honey. So this one I would keep if I could only keep 10 because it's got just such a nice shade range with a lot of like yellows and golds and oranges and just that whole spectrum of eyeshadow shades. This is just really great for neutral shades, but also shades that you can bring in to do a large variety of looks. This is one of those palettes that just inspires me. Like every time I look at it, I immediately go into my head with like all of the different types of looks that you can do from this. I really love these types of shades though. I'm a really big color person, but when I do neutrals, like I like to have a little bit of color in there, and this is just so great for that. It really is. So this one, I actually haven't used it that much. I've used it a couple times. I've never used this little brush that comes with it, but I have used the palette a couple of times, and I like it. Like it's, I don't know if I would even consider this to be one of my favorites, but it's just versatile, you know, and that's the whole point in this challenge, I feel like, is to get versatile palettes, and with this one you can just do so much. So Urban Decay Naked Honey and the original Naked, definitely. Number 3, and this is my last Urban Decay one, this is the Moondust palette. I don't know if they still make this one or not, honestly, but this is just, like, this is where you're getting into the more rainbow of the color world, but the finishes of this, it's such a unique finish for these shadows, and genuinely, you can add these over any look and it just instantly makes the look like that much more. So it gives so much depth to eyeshadow looks, and I freaking love this palette. Like, this one is definitely one of my favorites. I don't use it as much as I would like to because it definitely gets lost in my drawer there, but rediscovered, totally plan on using it again. And this is just nice because this automatically gives you a bunch of those shimmer glitter finishes that a lot of the other palettes don't have. It's almost like, I mean, because you can make these into like a foil type finish, you can just do the straight up shimmer, you can use these as eyeshadow toppers, like there's so many different things that you can do with this. And it has like a good basic shade range for just bright colors, and I just think it's so stunning, it's so beautiful. So much that you can do with it in addition to other eyeshadow palettes, and this is definitely one that I would keep if I could only keep 10. Astounding. Going into the rainbow shades, this one was a weird one. This is the ColourPop She's a Rainbow palette, but like when I ordered it online and they sent all of the shades like individually and then an empty palette. This is the palette that they sent. I didn't get to pick the palette. I don't fully see the connection, but I know that other people have gotten other palettes, so I'm thinking it's just like whatever they happen to have. I don't know, but this is the palette itself. I put mine together exactly as it is on the ColourPop website, and it's, whew. So this is what I would keep for rainbow shades. I like the ColourPop formula, and I will say, I had a hard time picking between this and then the Morphe James Charles palette for just like bright, colorful shadows. I ended up going with this one because I like the quality a lot better. And I want to say they're roughly the same price point. The James Charles one might be more expensive, but I like the quality of this better. James Charles does have a lot of like neutrals in it as well, but this is just like bam, in your face, pops of color, rainbow galore, and I like the quality a lot better. The James Charles and Morphe one, it's a nice palette, but it's definitely not on par with some of the other ones. So this palette, you just have such a huge variety of like every rainbow shade you could want, including some pressed glitters if you wanted to use those for looks. I know that that's kind of taboo, but if you wanted to, they are there. And like there's just, I mean, you could use this in so many ways, especially if you bring in some of the other palettes that I have. You know, so I had to have at least one palette that was nothing but bright ass shades, and this is the one that I think I would take just because this encompasses so many different shades in it. I think this has, what, 18? 24. This has 24 shades in it. So 24 different rainbow shades. It's got like all the spectrums here. I love this. This is the one that I would take because this, from my collection personally, has probably the best variety of rainbow shades, of just the bright in-your-face color, and the quality is really good too. So that's definitely one I would have to keep. I also have the Too Faced Gingerbread Spice palette. This one is kind of weird for me. This I think was like the last one that I chose, and it was one of the first ones that I had pulled out as like a maybe, you know, a possibility, and I think this was like the last one that I chose. I kept narrowing it down, and this is the one that made the final cut. It's just, I mean, and here's the thing, like, so this was like supposed to be a limited edition palette, and then for whatever reason it wasn't. Like they ended up bringing it back. I got it when they brought it back. When I first saw it, I was like, meh, I never really cared about it, but when they brought it back, I ended up grabbing it because everybody raved about it, right? This and like the Urban Decay Born to Run, I think were some of the most talked about eyeshadow palettes of the last year. And I have the Urban Decay Born to Run. I like it. I don't fully get the hype on it, to be completely honest with you, but I like it. Like, it's decent enough. This one, however, I really like. There's just so many beautiful shades in here. It's gorgeous. For whatever reason, all of the palettes that I really truly love are the ones that like I use the least. I don't know why. I'm probably like in my head trying to just hoard them who knows. But this one has so many beautiful shades. It has a couple of nice bright pops of color. It's got some gorgeous shimmer shades. It's got beautiful neutrals and just nice base shades. It's got gorgeous crease shades. Like, this is one of those, like, you can do so much with this single palette. It really is just, it's such a nice palette. It's 18 shades. I like that everything is the same size. A lot of the times Too Faced kind of changes sizes of their eyeshadows, which I freaking hate. It's so just, it's great for an everyday look. It's very wearable shades for people who aren't into like the rainbow colors. There are some nice colors in there. And I like this, you know. You can do so much with it. I love the different finishes. This is definitely one that I would keep. It really is a good palette, which Too Faced holiday releases are kind of hit and miss in that regard. That one was really good. I thought so anyways. The Huda Beauty Desert Dusk palette. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I didn't even know I had this. I was going through my collection. I had the Huda Beauty New Nudes. I had pulled that out, and then this was like buried behind it. I love the red shades, the purple shades. Purple especially just gets me, like, I love purple eyeshadow. And so I opened this and like audibly gasped, and I have no idea how I have this and just completely forgot about it. But this is definitely going to get used a lot more now. This is just stunning. You have a row of nice neutrals. They can be used as creases, setting powders. You've got some good like shades up here too. And then just, oh, gorgeous. This matte orange, this blazing matte orange, holy crap. That is seriously probably one of the best matte oranges I've ever seen. And it's so pigmented. Huda Beauty does really good, well quality products. I had almost pulled out some of their like the mini 9-pan, the Obsessions palettes. I freaking love those, but they didn't have enough shades. Kind of got me a little bit paranoid. And I just, this is perfect. The amethyst shade alone, like, that is probably why I ended up buying this palette, because at some point I did purchase it. I can pretty much guarantee that I purchased this because of the amethyst shade. It is just the best matte purple ever. And Twilight, I mean, like, genuinely, this is just such a beautiful palette. I feel like this would be really good for the purple and the red spectrum of eyeshadows, which is what I wear a lot of the time. So this is definitely one that I would keep if I can only keep 10. Speaking of purples though, the ColourPop Monochromatic series, these are some of my favorite palettes, man. They're so inexpensive, they're good quality, and I love it. I love it, okay? I'm not the greatest at like looking at a palette and getting inspired. There are a couple that do that for me, but for the most part, like, I really just like to kind of be, you know, drawn towards a look. And these monochromatic palettes just make it super easy. I freaking love them. This is the It's My Pleasure palette, which is the purple one, because I love purple eyeshadows, seriously. This one has definitely seen some use. This is probably my favorite of the monochromatic collection. And it's just, oof. This is one that I would definitely, if I can only keep 10, 100%, because I love this. It's got such a good range of purples and pinks, and I almost kept the pink one too. And I ended up not, because I tend to wear a lot more purple than I do pink, and this had some nice pink shades in it, whereas the pink palette only had a couple of purple shades. This just felt more well-rounded to me. It's just got these beautiful shimmers. It has these beautiful, just the shade selection. If you are a purple lover, this is definitely a palette to get. I freaking love it. It's just so gorgeous. And this is one of the 9-pan palettes that does not have any pressed glitter in it. It does have some gorgeous shimmers. Just beautiful. Yeah, this is definitely one that I would keep, because this is definitely a favorite of mine. And I get a lot of looks out of a palette with a bunch of purple shades. Thank you very much. The other monochromatic one that I would keep is Smoke Show. Mine is filthy. It's got like hairspray and shit all over it, but this one impressed me. And I know a lot of people weren't super thrilled with it, but here is my thing, okay? If I wanted to do a traditional smoky eye, this is the palette that I need. I don't need a whole bunch of other palettes with like blacks and grays and things. And I like this palette because it really gives you depth to smoky eyes. You can do you can take like a traditional smoky eye and make it into a lot of different things using the different gray tones and like the gray shimmers and things like that. And I love that. Like this is the smoky eye upgraded, and I feel like this would be a really good one to keep because I didn't want to keep a lot of palettes that had much of the darker, like the really truly dark shades, because I don't tend to use those a whole lot, but they are nice to have. So I feel like this is perfect. You know, it's a very small palette, it doesn't take up a whole lot of space, it's affordable, it's good quality, and it just works nicely for when I do want to do a darker look, or even if I don't want to do like a full-on smoky eye, if I just want to do like to deepen up my outer V or something like that. This is just such an easy palette to grab to do that with, and I love the different gray tones. This is just such a good one for any type of darker or smoky eye look that I would want to do. This is definitely going to be one that I would want to keep with me. I think it is very versatile, even though you can only do really like, you know, a couple types of looks with a palette like this. I do think it is more versatile than people give it credit for, and this is one that I would keep with me for sure. Okay, we only have 2 palettes left. The second to last one is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance. This is a classic. I have a few of the Anastasia Beverly Hills palettes. I like them. A lot of them are kind of more on the boring-ish side to me. Modern Renaissance I really like because it has a good mix of neutrals with those red and orange shades as well, which I really like. And this also has, I'm gonna take that brush out. This also has some really decent like darker browns, which I mean like some of the other palettes that I had picked out do have them, especially the Too Faced Gingerbread Spice, but this one, it just speaks to me. You know what I mean? The quality of Anastasia Beverly Hills palettes are obviously very good. Everybody loves them. They're very popular. I like them as well. I don't like the fact that Anastasia Beverly Hills palettes tend to go bad a lot quicker than most other palettes do. However, it is really good quality. It is very good. I'm probably going to try to pan this one at some point because I have had it for quite a while, and Anastasia Beverly Hills palettes don't last as long as most palettes do, but I think this one is really nice. You have a lot of really good crease shades, you know, and the crease shade is something that's really big for me because regardless of what type of look I'm doing, the vast majority of the time I use a regular crease shade, at least to start out with, so I tend to go through those pretty quickly. And I do like having a good variety of like different shading for crease shades available to me. And that's a really big aspect for picking something like this because I do like that. But I really like just this whole side right here. It's just beautiful, beautiful shades. And I definitely think that there is something to be said for how popular this palette is. There has to be a reason for that, you know? And it's just such a great everyday palette that you can really do a lot with. And that's what I was going for with a lot of these palettes, was finding stuff that was versatile. Or even if like I have to bring in other palettes to make them work in a variety of ways, you know, just finding things that I can have a lot of selection out of. So I ended up picking this one. Definitely one that I would keep. This is probably my favorite of the Anastasia Beverly Hills palettes. I really do like the Alyssa Edwards one because it's got super bright colors in it, but for the sake of the challenge. And the last one, this is probably going to be a bit of a controversial choice, but this is what I would pick. The Morphe Jaclyn Hill palette. Now, hear me out. I know that this is not the most popular palette anymore. I do think it's actually still quite popular though. I see people talk about it all the time. I see it all the time on Instagram. People are like actively trying to pan this, which is insane to me because it's freaking huge. But it does seem to be a pretty well-loved palette. I know, but it does. And here's the thing though. This palette I would keep solely for the neutral shades. It's got such a, it's like a library of neutral shades. The quality is so. I definitely think that this is of like the top tier of Morphe palettes because it's not horrible, but it's definitely not as good as like the Urban Decay Naked or the Huda Beauty. I don't have a huge issue with Morphe quality because the price point tends to be there, you know, but they're not, there are better quality eyeshadows out there. However, I would keep this because you have darker shades. You have so many neutrals, and more neutrals than you could ever know what to do with. The Pool Party shade, which is this shade right here, holy crap, it's absolutely beautiful. Definitely one of my favorites. You've got some nice browns, some nice darker reds. I mean, it really is a pretty palette. The pans are decently sized, which I definitely think kind of adds to it. because it is a lot of product for the price that it costs. Either way though, I love like this little 6 shadows right here. I think they're beautiful. Tons of crease shades, lots of setting shades, some gorgeous shimmers mixed throughout. These like green shades. I mean, like, and the pigmentation of this is not bad at all. I actually, like I said, this is my favorite Morphe palette that they've come out with, like, collab-wise. And I'm not bothered by it, you know? So, I've had this forever, and I like it. I would definitely, I think, keep this one if I could only keep 10, just because of the large variety of neutrals it has. It's probably one of my largest, like, neutral-ish palettes. It does have a couple pops of color, and you've got some nice darker shades too, but for the most part, it's a lot of neutrals. So I would end up keeping that one if I could only keep 10, just for that reason alone, honestly. The quality isn't horrible, which is, I guess, plus side, you know, but I would want to make sure if I could only keep 10 palettes that I had a nice variety of shades. Okay, so that is mine. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys would keep if you could only keep 10 palettes. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up if you like it, and make sure you hit that subscribe button if you'd like to see more of me. I will catch you guys next time. Have a good one. Bye.